Welcome to another episode of The Well, where you can dip into your soul. And if you've been following me along, last week I was talking about visualization, and I'm pretty sure that in most visualizations, there are people involved. I mean, you can visualize a situation all for yourself, by yourself, on your own, which can be beautiful and pretty. But I think many of us do appreciate a setting, a future, a world, an imagination, a visualization that involves also other people. And yet, isn't it so that connections and relationships to and with other people are sometimes complicated? You can be very lonely in a relationship. You can be very lonely because you're not seeing your friends. You can be very lonely, feel very lonely because you've lost people that you dearly loved and still love, but they're no longer in your life, um, by accident, by death, by moving to the other side of the world. Sometimes people just, yeah, get out of your life somehow, one way or the other. That's why I thought it was important to address today a topic that's linked to this visualization, at least in my world, and I hope in yours too, because relationships are important and you are somebody thanks to others. Whether you like that idea or not, it is so that you are shaped, influenced, loved by other people. And it's good to be aware of that. It's great. Again, there's nothing wrong with being on your own as long as you feel good with it and by it. But you are a social animal. You are a social person. You have a heart, a burning heart of flesh that wants to connect, that's longing for joy and fulfillment. So I want to take you quickly, not too long. I just want to stick to kind of this 15 minutes that I normally use to explaining and to go deeper into a topic like today. And of course, as always, every topic and every part of the talk is something that we could dive into way more and way deeper, but I try to make it as concise as possible for you. So what are we talking about when we talk about healthy relationships, cultivating self-love, and of course, creating environments that actually make it possible for these relationships to be good and healthy? So I think most important though is this self-love and becoming aware of who you are, knowing yourself. If you know yourself well and what's important to you, it becomes easier to navigate relationships with others and also to navigate the difficulties that may occur. But it is self-love and awareness is a very important foundation for healthy connections. And yeah, spend time in this. Spend time understanding yourself. Know thyself. It's this old saying for since centuries that we know, and you may forget sometimes. So understanding how a strong sense of self-esteem and self-love create this solid foundation for to attract and to maintain healthy relationships is key. It's really key because the better you know yourself, the more clear you can communicate and the more clear you can set boundaries. So yeah, spend time in that area or talk with friends, seek support. It's wonderful to get to know yourself better. And then, of course, a second important part is your relationship values. I mean, it's important to have kind of shared principles, right? You can have shared hobbies or a shared cultural background, but it's also very well possible to develop relationships with people from the other side of the world or who are into complete different ways of living and hobbies when at least your principles are shared. And I think that's something so important to again realize that people that may look different, dress different, are different, but can have the exact same principles like you have. So to explore your values, what can you be thinking of? It's things like indeed wanting to grow, wishing also for the other to grow and to be transparent about your needs, about your beliefs, about your priorities, about how important is honesty for you, or how important is free time, or how important is um, uh, knowledge, or how important is joking. What makes you feel fulfilled in your life? I mean, your values can be very close linked to this. What does make you feel good? And then it, of course, this relates to the first topic I shared, knowing yourself. So what makes you feel fulfilled, and what values are important related to that feeling of fulfillment? And if you are certain about these and become transparent about these and dare to communicate those, you open up to a stronger relation and a stronger connection. When you talk about shared principles and you identify where you align, and you also know where there are deal breakers, what are the things that you really find hard or really don't want. I mean, if you can get to that level of communicating with each other, then you're really onto a beautiful relationship, and that's for sure. Can be also with new persons. I mean, you can be very quickly cut to the core, saying, how do you see this, or how do you see that, or how do you consider this? So it's also about daring to ask the open questions, and then wanting to truly listen and understand. So looking for a solution, and for understanding, rather than trying to bring your value in the connection or in the relationship immediately, and saying like, yeah, this is important and this is so and so. So clarifying relationship values are super important. So with that comes the next thing, and that is basically your healthy boundaries, because we are not all the same. You are different than I am, and everybody is different, and everybody has the right to be different. I mean, man, it would be terrible if we all would be thinking the same thing, wanting the same thing. It would become disastrous. So I think it's also really something we get to avoid altogether, to be too much like each other. Conformism, imitation, all these kind of things lead to people wearing masks, trying to fit in, whereas it's so important to cultivate you, to become you. And what is it that you need to kind of safeguard your own needs, to respect your own needs? That's what boundaries are for. I had a training about this last week. So many people think that boundaries are like to keep others out, to push them away, or to say like, yeah, until here and no further. Also emotionally, for example, or just in relationships. But it's not about against others. It's to safeguard your needs and your own peace. So to explore what boundaries cultivate mutual respect and emotional safety for both is important. It will absolutely contribute to the overall health of your connection. Again, it requires your courage and your confidence to communicate those. Back to the first thing, self-reflection and knowing yourself is therefore foundational to good relationships. And therefore, there are many people, and maybe that's you, who don't thrive in their relationships, who don't have great connections. This can be by choice, but this also can be accidental, because you have been, yeah, pushed around or moved along with what others required of you, and often this stems from childhood. So again, there's no judgment in the talk that I'm having. I'm just trying to illustrate how this can grow into basically always relying on what other expects and needs from you. So you lose touch with yourself, which is a logical process. But now you're here, and it's time to say like, hey, what do I find important? What are my values? And what are boundaries that I need at this very moment, so that I can safeguard my peace? Effective communication is scary. I mean, I'm a communication specialist, and I know that it's an art to communicate well. let's just keep it by myself for a moment. I have a lot of associations, a lot of ideas. I have very philosophical touch also in my thinking. So to translate what I'm thinking in easy words, like I try to do on this training, it is really it's pretty hard for me because it really forces me to think very concrete and to break it down in steps. Um, and that's also why at the same time I'm very open and honest and compassionate, because those are topics that I find important. So I move myself through this through this process of breaking it down. Why? Because I want to cultivate with you and for you the understanding of the topics. And in this particular case, it's about relationships, because if you communicate open and honestly, it helps to avoid, of course, conflicts. It even can resolve conflicts, and it strengthens the bond between you and me, between you and your friends, between you and your partner or your family members. So effective communication, honest and open and compassionate. And compassionate is crucial, and it is something that a lot of people shy away from. I can absolutely help. I can maybe I should make a PDF again, like an extra file for you to see, like, how can you deal with people who shy away from open communication. People tend to really shy away from this, and it's something that you can avoid only when you have a lot of patience and willingness to really listen, to really understand. So yeah, I'm now deciding that I will make this file, and I see if I can put a link here below so that you can download it, because it is so important, and it is such a pity if people yeah, don't talk openly, honestly. I mean, you don't need to say everything, right? I mean, let's be clear. There's no need to lay out everything, or to share everything, or to immediately puke out all the feelings, you know. I mean, but sharing what's important to you, what you truly desire, are key to healthy relationships. So, and then the last element, I shortly already mentioned it, is of course growth. Wish each other growth. I think the most important element in a relationship, besides of course respect, is wishing each other to grow, wishing each other to evolve, allowing each other to change, to to learn more, to yeah, to be somebody that is still becoming. And too often, also in partnerships, of course, in marriages, people want kind of the person to stay the same, but it's impossible. I mean, physically we change, mentally we grow, spiritually we have experiences, we go through pains, we become a parent, a father or a mother, you know. So there's so much happening, and then still we kind of stay stuck in this idea on how somebody used to be. But you're changing, continuously changing and evolving, and to to nurture each other's individual growth and to actually encourage it is something that's not present in many relationships. People kind of tend to keep each other down, to say like, don't do this, or that's too dangerous, or what a ridiculous idea. But together in a relationship, with friends, with partners, with family, understanding that your personal development as well as the one from the other, and supporting each other in exploring what is possible for the future, or for ideas, or for plans, or new jobs, or whatever it can be, contributes to the health and longevity. So if your relationships are suffering or are not fulfilling at the moment, look, where is clarity on your values? Is there respect? Is there effective communication? And do you wish each other to grow? Is there space for growth, and is there communication about it? So those are basically the 5 points I mentioned. So just to kind of quickly recap, self-love, self-reflection, awareness about what's important to you is a foundation to great relationships, that's for sure. The relationship values and the shared principles, they don't need to be all the same, but of course there are key elements that are important to align with. And then healthy boundaries, you get to be courageous and confident, and be assertive in safeguarding your peace and your emotional safety. That's your task, to be clear on it. And if somebody steps over this or crosses this again and again and again, you get to raise your standards. You get to communicate more clearly, more directly, and express from the I what it does to you, from the I standpoint, what it does to you. It's an important part, the healthy boundaries, of course. The fourth element is the effective communication. Open, honest communication is an art. It's not easy. It requires a lot of patience and repetition also, but it is something in which you can grow together. And the third one is wish each other and nurture each other's individual growth. I think those are 5 key topics. Again, every topic all by itself, could be a full coaching program. I try to keep it concise for you. If you have any questions, let me know. I will, as I just promised, create this PDF that will explain to you what to do when somebody shows resistance to open and honest communication. I mean, we all have a level of resistance within ourselves about open and honest communication. Again, I'm not saying you have to say everything, not at all, but of course, a good sense of open and honest communication is absolutely important, and it's contributing to the great health of your connections. So I'm wishing you a great day, a great week. Become aware of your relationships and actually, hey, with this person, what does it mean to somebody you may call a friend? When somebody is a friend to you, there are friends that you might not have seen for years, which is totally fine, that you still consider friends, and there are friends you're seeing regularly that actually don't feel like friends anymore. So it's just, again, see it as almost as a game. Of course, it is no game, but take off some pressure, offload a little bit of your emotion, and start to look like, hey, this person, what's so wonderful about this person? Or hey, this part of me, I think it's so nice. Yeah, it really fits to do this with it. Well, okay, I don't want to to take off on a whole new topic. Enjoy, go ahead this week, be beautiful on the inside and on the outside. And yeah, you are worthy of great, healthy relationships, and you play an important part in that. So pick up your responsibility, check in with yourself, start with your self-love and awareness, and build your self-esteem. It's a great trampoline into beautiful relationships that start today. Bye-bye.